The Welsh Hill Rally returned for 2019, once again based at Walters Arena and making use of plenty of those challenging tracks the venue has to offer. 19 stages then, 3 days of grueling competition and a quality entry. The Welsh Hill Rally 2019 is go. Day 1 would ease the competitors into the event, consisting of 2 short stages. A warm-up to the main event, of course, but that wasn't going to stop the crews from trying. And leading the way at the end of the day were Justin Birchall and Johnny Kunja, finding themselves with a 21-second advantage in that lead position. Last year's winner, Paul Rowlands, with Neil Lloyd alongside, will be the closest rival at this early stage. Second place for the pair, leading the way in Class 5. And this year's event sees Anthony Jackson and Peter Widdop coming to take on the Welsh stages. No strangers to results in both Comp Safari and Hill Rallies, so they will be ones to watch. For now, they were cementing their place at the front of the queue. Third place for the pair, leading Class 10. Ian Gregg and Adam Evans were also no strangers to a good result in this type of event. They start things as they mean to go on as well, with 4th overall, leading the way in Class 6. And it would be another good start for Phil Bayliss and Lance Murphin as they lead the way in Class 9 from 5th place on the overall leaderboard, just 2 seconds back from Gregg. In Class 7, the early leaders and the ones to watch surely would be Dale and Peter Gilbertson. 10 seconds advantage in the class would be theirs as well with that position so far. Just the one crew to watch in Class 2, Brian Chase and David Andrew, of course, of Ravenel fame in that Freelander, but that wasn't going to stop them pushing throughout the weekend. Eyes on that overall prize, perhaps. And for Fraser Williams and Ashley Cackett, it would be the early lead in Class 3. There may be a long way to go in the event, but there were already some names to watch at this stage. There was early frustration though for Chloe and Millie Jones. They break the steering box and would have to struggle through the rest of the day before having a look at it. Thankfully, the shorter stages mean less time lost and more time to get ready for the next day of competition. And unfortunately, the event would be short-lived for the bowler entry of John Sprackling and George Gray, only managing to complete the opening day of the competition but having to put the car on the trailer and call it a day. So a short, sharp opening day. The results at the top of the leaderboard are starting to unfold. They look like this. On to day 2 then, and there'd be no change to the lead of the event. Justin Birchall and Johnny Kunja looking like they were dominating the times now and opening up almost a 3-minute lead by the end of 8 stages. Paul Rowlands and Neil Lloyd were still holding on to that second place. The lead looking unlikely without problems up ahead, but they were keeping everyone else at bay just in case of such a scenario. There would, though, be change in third place. Mark Jacks and Adam Nicholson moving their way up into a podium position at this stage with third. The pair now leading the way in Class 10 as well. The reason, in part, for that change in the class, aside from their pace, of course, would be due to problems for Anthony Jackson and Peter Widdop. They break the prop shaft on stage 8, dropping right down the leaderboard as a result. There was no change at this stage, though, for Ian Gregg and Adam Evans. They keep hold of that 4th place overall. The Class 6 lead, of course, still theirs, as there would be no one else to fight with. And it would be the Class 9 lead still for Phil Bayliss and Lance Murphin. Plenty of fight there, though. Things going well for the pair as they keep hold of that class lead, as well as 5th place on the overall leaderboard. And judging by some of these lines being taken, it was easy to see that Willie Stubbs and David Kirk-Barnes were trying. They managed to get themselves to the end of the morning with 6th place overall, 2nd in Class 10, and fighting. And just behind them in the class were Rob Boole and Victoria Vaughan. The times were looking consistent for the pair. The pace was looking good, so there was no reason that they couldn't mount a challenge on that position up ahead. A good result this weekend wasn't looking like being off the cards. 3 seconds back from Boole, though, at this stage, showing just how close things were in the class, were Richard Wynne Williams and Matthew Lowe. They would have that position ahead of them in their sights well and truly, and indeed more positions after that as well. But for now, it will be 8th overall, 2nd in Class 8. Jason Rowlands and Liam Dudley would lose a little time on the overall leaderboard after their day 1 finish. They end stage 8 with 9th place overall, 2nd in the class. And rounding out the top 10 at this stage were Dale and Peter Gilbertson, the pair holding on to that Class 7 lead as well at this stage in the event. Not everyone, though, was having such an easy weekend of it. Cameron Crowe and Pauline Stevenson would misjudge the speed into this corner, rolling the car. Thankfully, no real damage to the car or crew, and they'd be back out straight away, pushing hard once again. So we've completed 8 stages here at Walters Arena. There are some changes at the top of our leaderboard, but not to that lead, which at this stage looks pretty convincing. Birchall out in front by a comfortable margin. On to the afternoon stages then, and the final chance on Saturday for those results to change around. But just as before, there'd be no change to that lead for Justin Birchall and Johnny Kunja. They continue to hold position, now with almost 5 minutes of an advantage out in front. So the fight for the lead wasn't looking likely to change anytime soon, but let's catch up with the various class battles going on at this stage in the event. And for Richard Wynne Williams and Matthew Lowe, it will be 2nd in Class 8 behind our overall leaders. 7th place overall for the pair as well on the leaderboard.
Yeah, it's been a really good day today. A bit dusty out there though. Very dusty out there. It's been good. The car's going all right, yeah, at the moment, touch wood, but yeah, it's been good, really good.
We were seeing some good times from another crew this morning, Astin Cox and Becka Clarkson. The pair were running right down the leaderboard though after not being able to take part in the short day 1 stages and having to take maximums for those times. Day 2 though wasn't without its problems either. They end today with 24th overall. There'd be no change to the Class 5 lead for Paul Rowlands and Neil Lloyd. They do make a bit of a mistake on a new section of stage here, having to correct themselves and go the right way again. Thankfully, they had enough time in hand for it not to alter those results at this stage.
Yeah, winning the class and opening 2nd overall, we made a bit of a mistake there on that new bit. Went the wrong way, so keep on trying.
2nd place in Class 5 would belong, meanwhile, to Jason Rowlands and Liam Dudley. They'd be climbing the leaderboard a little once again, though, now up to 8th overall and closing in on some of the other positions up ahead. The lead in Class 10 would still belong to this man, Mark Jacks, Adam Nicholson alongside. They were managing to hold on to that 3rd place overall by around 30 seconds. So it was far from comfortable, but at least they had a little time to play with going into day 2.
Yeah, good day to be fair. We broke a diff on the 2nd run this morning, so we had to quickly change that. Well, he had to change that, so we did two laps with 2-wheel drive. But yeah, been a great day, really enjoyed it, great course. Just a bit dusty though, that's the only problem.
2nd in the class behind Jacks would be Willie Stubbs and David Kirk-Barnes. There'd be around a minute in that class at this stage, so it wasn't over. But there would be some work to do on day 2. The leading Class 7, though, was looking like a solid one. Dale and Peter Gilbertson continuing to hold on to that position at the end of the day, edging out a good advantage there as well.
Yeah, it's been a really good day. Yeah, we haven't had too many issues. The dust's been fairly bad towards the end, but it's been a really good day. We've thoroughly enjoyed it. It's haven't had too many problems. One puncture, that was about it really. So, no, it's been really good. Really enjoyed it.
Behind Gilbertson in the class were George Bryson and Wallace McKay. They had initially been close on time, but felt that they were too far over the limit to keep up with our class leaders, backing off a little and looking to just maintain that 2nd in class and bring the car home to the finish. A big effort, long hours put in by the team, help from other teams and from other people at the event would see Chloe and Millie Jones back out competing after their steering box issues on the first day of the competition. They were having a few low fuel pressure issues now, but importantly, they were still going despite that frustration, having got the car fixed to find another problem to contend with. 5th place in Class 7 at this stage. Phil Bayliss and Lance Murphy, meanwhile, were managing to keep hold of that Class 9 lead, despite dropping down the overall leaderboard after a puncture. They lie in 15th place now, with some catching up to do.
I've had a really good day till I got a puncture. Lost 12 minutes or something, but absolutely cracking day. Yeah.
Second in the class behind Bayliss were Jason Nichol and Philippa Tennant. They could perhaps have benefited from Bayliss' misfortune, but they'd have problems themselves, electrical issues forcing them to pull over and drop valuable time, meaning they couldn't capitalise on the problems up ahead. Second in the class was the best they could do for now, and it was not bad for damage limitation. Our Day 1 Class 3 leaders Fraser Williams and Ashley Cackett would continue to hold on to that position through to the end of Day 2. They hold a good advantage in the class as well.
Good, few misfires, a few problems with the engine, but yeah, we're at the end of the day.
Is it something that's going to keep going after you fixed it?
No, we'll fix it. We'll fix it.
And for Ian Linford and Demelza Scholes, it will be second place in Class 3. This only the second time out in the car after the new turbo engine had been fitted. The last time being a closed road rally. So things were a little different here this weekend, you could say. For Ian Gregg and Adam Evans, they were, of course, on their own in Class 6. They were, however, still fighting on the overall leaderboard, ending the day with 4th overall.
Nice and steady. A few problems on midday with slipping clutch, but we swapped the clutch out and we're now trying to make the time up again. But yeah, it's a good course, enjoyable.
Just the one crew in Class 2 as well, Brian Chase and David Andrew. Again, their eyes on the overall times. They were missing stages by the handful, though, after a fuel problem meant that they were stuck in service, unable to get the car moving again. So Day 2 complete. That lead for Birchall looks unlikely to change, but with plenty more miles to go, anything can happen. And the last thing we'd want to give them is presenter's curse, of course. On we go to Day 3 of the Hill Rally then, and as you can probably guess, that lead of the event would remain unchanged. Justin Birchall and Johnny Kunja maintaining a huge advantage there, it had to be said, looking a safe bet for victory now. It would still be up to Paul Rowlands and Neil Lloyd, though, to hold off any advance from the chasing competitors behind on the leaderboard. They were almost up to a minute of an advantage themselves in that second place. Less comfortable than our leaders, but a good, solid gap up the front nonetheless. And it would still be third for Mark Jacks and Adam Nicholson, the pair continuing to round out the podium places as well as leading the way in Class 10. The gap to those podium places, though, is looking a little bigger. Ian Gregg and Adam Evans still holding on to 4th, but probably not going to risk trying to push in the final stages with almost a minute and a half between them and that 3rd place up ahead. Things were, however, now at least going the right way for Jason Rowlands and Liam Dudley. Up to 5th place overall, now back on the pace, remaining 2nd in the class. They'd have 30 seconds to make up if they wanted to pass Greg on the results. Meanwhile, everything was going to plan for Rob Bull and Victoria Vaughan now. 2nd in Class 10 would be theirs, 6th place on the overall leaderboard as well with those stage times. There'd be no change to report, though, for Richard, Wynne Williams and Matthew Lowe. 2nd place in Class 8 was theirs, as well as 7th on the overall leaderboard. Willie Stubbs and David Kirk-Barnes dropped down the order a little through these stages. The times were fairly close overall, so it didn't take much to change the positions around. They end the morning with 8th place. Just behind them overall would be the Class 7 leaders Dale and Peter Gilbertson. That fight for the victory was still looking strong. Remaining stages of the event left to go, the pace looking good. And rounding out the top 10 at this stage were Ben Gill and Luke Sagar. The first hill rally for the pair, and they were loving it, putting in some good times and enjoying the fast-flowing and challenging stages this weekend in Waters Arena. So we've just got a few more stages to go. The leaderboard at the top is looking like this. But would it be set to change? We'll find out next. Let's head out onto those final stages of the competition then. What a long event this has been, and how close through some of the classes as well. A look at those class and overall finishes then. And for Brian Chase and David Andrew, it would be class victory. The weekend hadn't been without its problems. A slow puncture towards the end of the stage would finally give up completely on this hairpin, causing a bit of lost time. Just goes to show it doesn't matter if you haven't got anyone to fight with in the class, you've still got to get to the finish, and sometimes that in itself can be a challenge. For John Pickering and Sean Matheson, it would be second place in Class 3 to finish the event. Retirement up ahead, promoting them up that leaderboard this weekend. For Chloe and Millie Jones, let's say it had been an eventful weekend. A mixed day as well. Things had gone well for the pair in the end, the times looking good. Unfortunately though, in the later stages, the car would attempt to climb a tree. It's always the tree's fault. Rolling and blocking the course, it was game over. Thankfully both okay, and close enough to the end to classify as a finish, taking 6th in the class, 20th overall. It would be a great end to the weekend for Ian Linford and Demelza Scholes though. They come away with the Class 3 victory, already looking forward to the next instalment at the Borders Hill Rally later in the year to try and claim that class in the Hill Rally Championship for 2019. With those electrical problems behind them, Jason Nicol and Philippa Tennant could focus on pushing once again. Sadly though, a misfire in a couple of the stages would put halt to that, doing its best to hold them back once again. Second in Class 9, 14th overall was the best they could manage with these problems. And damage limitation would also be the name of the game for Phil Bayliss and Lance Murphy. They keep hold of that Class 9 lead though to the finish, moving up the overall leaderboard into 12th place with it. And after such a good run, we'd lose Willie Stubbs and David Kirk-Barnes on stage 17. Last minute frustration is game over for the Milner pair. We move on to the top 10 overall then. George Bryson and Wallace McKay rounding out those positions at the end of the event, taking second in Class 7. A puncture in the final stage could have threatened to change that around, but thankfully they have enough of a buffer and keep pushing to keep hold of that position. For Alistair Morton and Ian Johnston, it would be 9th. The pair had managed to get themselves a third in Class 5 finish this weekend as well. And there would be no doubting our Class 7 victors this weekend. While others in the class were fighting amongst themselves on the timesheets, it would be Dale and Peter Gilbertson walking away with victory. A great end to a strong weekend for the pair. And another crew going home happy were Ben Gill and Luke Sagar, 7th place overall, taking the highest place newcomers award. That award, of course, going to the highest placed crew on their first hill rally. The pair, of course, already seasoned Comp Safari competitors and just showing or proving they knew how to pedal that car well. For Richard Wynne Williams and Matthew Lowe, it would be 6th place overall. They do gain a position in the class fight due to others' misfortunes, but would be unable to gain anything more back on the timesheets. 2nd in Class 8, 6th overall this weekend. And it would be a class victory for Rob Bull and Victoria Vaughan. They take the Class 10 honours, as well as a great 5th place on the overall timesheets as well. For Ian Gregg and Adam Evans, there would be no change. They'd held on to that 4th place all weekend. A solid drive from the pair, especially given their problems on day 2, putting them mostly in 2-wheel drive. Thankfully, with the majority of the course being fast and flowing, there wasn't too much holding them back with those issues. There would, however, be issues that were more serious and had more impact on the results for others. We lose Mark Jacks and Adam Nicholson on stage 17. Our podium-placed crew, sadly for them, not able to make it to the end of the event after such a strong showing. So all of this change and a good push themselves would mean it's a podium place for Jason Rowlands and Liam Dudley. A great end to the event for the pair and a good comeback climb back up through the leaderboard this weekend. As expected, there would be nothing Paul Rowlands and Neil Lloyd could do to keep hold of that winning title from last year. The lead out of reach from all but early on in the rally. Second place was a great end to the weekend though, making it a Rowlands family-dominated podium this weekend. But domination came in two forms this weekend. Of course, that means it's victory for Justin Birchall and Johnny Kunja. They were completely unchallenged for the most part of the event. But of course, with stages like these, they didn't have it easy. To finish, first you have to finish. And they did just that. Winners of the Welsh Hill Rally for 2019, and deservedly so. So before we get a quick word with our winners, here's a reminder of how those overall results shaped up at the end of a challenging weekend here at Walters Arena.
Yeah, it's all gone well. It's all come together. We definitely had Lady Luck on our side. 10 years it's been to try and get hold of a clincher hill rally. So yeah, it's been extremely well.
And how's it been from your side of the car?
Yeah, it's been good from start to finish. Really, there's not been no drama or anything like that. I don't think, has there? No. Everything just went plain sailing. Yeah, it was good. It was a good rally. Happy with it.
So that's all for 2019. The Hill Rally Championship, though, continues later in the year in Scotland. And many of these crews will be back out in action again soon as the Britpart British Cross Country Championship continues. Keep an eye on Special Stage for coverage of off-road racing and rallying throughout the season. But from the Hill Rally, we'll see you again next year. Thank you for watching.